The Falkland Islands have traditionally had a rich and successful agricultural presence, with thousands of sheep and cattle roaming the land throughout history. For many years this has been necessary for farmers to earn a living, but as a direct consequence the Falklands peatlands habitats have been affected due to this grazing. To monitor the impact as well as highlight the potential for restoration, a 3-year project funded by the Darwin Plus Initiative, managed by Falklands Conservation, is underway.
The project will try and get out there, find these really good examples, so places that are maybe a bit more off the beaten track. It's an opportunity to see what could be achieved in the future through restoration potentially, and through changes in land management practice. So yeah, it's a real focus on trying to get as much as we can potentially before these, in some cases, some of these really small remnants of habitats may or may not disappear. So.
Tasked with investigating the peatland habitats is Falklands Conservation Peatland and Wetland Officer David Higgins.
We're looking at probably five habitat types. One will be whitegrass, another will be whitegrass for sheen, then there's boxwood, tussock grass both onshore and offshore, and bluegrass. So the idea is to get an idea of what's associated to each habitat. So part of it we'll be looking at soil characteristics, which will be things like peat depth, bulk density, pH, and that kind of stuff. And then we'll also be looking at the botanical relationship, so what species, plant species are associated with each habitat type, and then the invertebrates as well, what invertebrates are associated. And we'll also do some ornithology and see what birds are coming in and out of these habitats. Start getting the bags up on the deck.
Recently, a small team, including David, travelled to 4 islands, located in the west of the Falklands. Coffin, Beef and Saddle Islands, all managed by the Falklands Conservation, and Tea Island, which is owned by the Beaver Island Group. These islands have a very limited number of visitors each year and are thought to be near pristine islands.
Yeah, that's the thing, is, they are amazing islands, and it makes it all the more amazing knowing how remote they are and how hard it is to get there and how few people have been there before. It's just in the middle of nowhere, and you kind of just feel like you're out there exploring, treading new ground, and it's really quite an amazing experience to be able to do that.
There is no airstrip to these islands, so the only option is via the sea. Access is also a challenge to battle the prevailing winds and the kelp forests. Nevertheless, the vessel, the Sersha, captained by the experienced Greg, was ideal for the 4-day trip.
It was first built in 1997 in Sweden as an expedition vessel primarily for science by a fellow called Olly Henriksen. And Sersha pretty much follows that pedigree. She's really a motor sailor, a big strong engine, powerful sailing rig. Actually ideally designed for accessing remote places like this, and doing exactly what we're doing now, is taking scientists to these places where access is difficult and the weather is hard. All the stuff that prevents people from generally getting there.
Coffin Island was the first in the trip to be investigated. The island was named after the Coffin family, who captained many whaling ships from America. The island is believed to have been grazed before the 1970s and possess rather steep cliff edges. To get onto the island on this occasion proved rather difficult.
Yeah, we tried to get onto Coffin Island, but the winds were in the wrong direction, which meant we couldn't get to the safe landing site. There was a bit of a swell, so we went and had a look, but it was considered a little bit too dangerous to go on, and so we gave that a miss and moved on to the next island, which was Beef.
Despite seeing the bird rock shags on the shores and tussock grass on the fringes, the island could not be conclusively investigated. Luckily, however, Falklands Conservation managed to land on the island in 2019.
Coffin's got a lot of good, as I said, coastal tussock habitat, and the real good thing to see was a lot of the bluegrass, which you don't see around the island. So the bluegrass habitat was key for us. It's a rare and really important habitat. Of course, that supports a lot of the bird species would hope to see with it, being an island that we have conservation management ideas for that we'd get recovery of, to try to get some really nice native habitat on there that would really support a lot of native Falklands wildlife.
On the same trip, the presence of the cob wren bird also highlighted some positive news.
So we're very fortunate that Coffin Island is rodent free. It's really nice to go out and always see that the cobs wren are still flourishing on there, and the habitats are really good for that. The rodent free state is a really important part of habitat recovery.
Join us next time as we journey with dolphins to the neighbouring Beef Island, a known tussock island with evidence of a previous fire and a small number of beef cattle, as well as understand some techniques used to investigate the Falklands peatlands.